Hello, everyone. I'm Jessica Wellman with SBC Americas, and I am thrilled to be joined by entrepreneur Molly Bloom. I wanted to just start with a big question. Why do you think poker is such a male-dominated endeavor? Is it that the community isn't very appealing to women, or women aren't interested in the game?
The more that we see women playing the game, the more interested women will be in the game. I think it's an incredible game for women to play. I think that when you see a woman who's great at poker, she's incredible. She has the instinct and the psychology down. She's able to, generally manage the ego better, the emotions, and I think poker's a great game for everyone. I think it's like everything else that doesn't have proper representation. We haven't seen it enough. And that's why it's so important for women to get out there to play and to be that representation.
So your game was a private one. What do you think, though, that the regulated casinos and online sites can learn from private and offshore games in terms of how to appeal to customers and function as a product?
When I ran a private game, I focused so much on the experience. Building out the fantasy, learning how to make people feel safe, seen, heard, remembered, and special. I just really focused on the product, having the best product out there. And it starts with one person. It starts with the experience of one person. Those 6 or 7 years when I focused on that, my game dominated. And when I started to focus on, let's get as many butts in the seat as I can, let me make as much money as I can, then I started to run into problems. I think it is so worth it to invest, to leave money on the table in the beginning, to invest in this brand that makes people feel special, that's exciting, that doesn't just feel like you're going to get taken by the house, And so I think just focusing on that product, staying constantly aware of how you can improve the details and improve people's experience and just, leading with that.
I think part of that made your game so appealing too was that you limited the number of pros. I would love for you to speak to that a little bit, just how important balancing and protecting new players and more amateur players in the game is, because I really don't personally think poker can thrive unless that's really at the forefront.
Oh, it's everything. Ideally, in my game, you have a table with people with similar skill level and similar play styles. And so they have these big, huge results that are exciting. But at the end of the year, it's evenly spread out. So it's the joy of poker, it's the joy of winning and losing, but nobody's going broke. So if there was a way to sort of designate, like in sports, for instance, here's the pros, here's the amateurs, here's the sort of like feeder team, that would be where I would start.
It makes a ton of sense. Also with your game, again, it's a bit different, but in poker right in this moment in particular, cheating is such a big discussion. How do you handle cheating? Maybe someone didn't cheat in your game, but they cheated elsewhere and you've heard about it. How did you handle situations like that when you heard about impropriety when it wasn't at your table?
Cheating's a big deal, and it's a really big deal online. And I did have people that attempted to cheat. I had a custom chip set, and they found out which company it was, and they brought in chips. I bought a Shuffle Master, which they're 17 grand, but so worth it because then you insulate yourself from a dealer cheating for somebody. But I think it's cameras, cultivating great relationships with people so that you have eyes on the inside. When you hear of someone and something being, like the rumors, I just didn't take chances. if there is a rumor on the street that you've been cheating, generally there's fire where there's smoke. You have to protect your players.
Absolutely. Your podcast Torch focuses on amateur athletes. Do you have feelings about sports betting and people betting on amateur athletes, and if there's a place for that?
For sports to exist just for the love of the game and the purity, is that my first, wish? Yes. Is it realistic? No, no way. Sports betting has existed forever. It's part of the culture, and it's part of what drives people to watch the games, and it makes the experience. I started betting on sports after I started running the games, and it's fun. It's fun. You always have the dark side of, now that sports betting is becoming legal in a lot of the states, everything is a bettable moment. But guess what? So is the stock market. So is my Charles Schwab account. Everything is a bettable moment. We just have to be rigorous about insulating sports from fraud, from people getting involved in fixing and everything. But it's here to stay. It's never going away. And, it's to each their own. So I have lots of opinions about it, but I'm extremely realistic. And I know that it's here to stay. And I just think that the teams and the networks and the players and everyone need to do the best that they can to allow for both conditions to exist, for there to be a betting universe and also a sports universe that's pure and for the love of the game and not susceptible to the vulnerabilities of big money in sports betting.
Absolutely. Well, Molly, thank you so much for taking the time today. It's been a great conversation.
I love that you're here doing this. It's incredible to see a woman in your seat, and it's been an honor to talk to you.